and battle for the numbers advantage first. Then you can move in and plant yourself on the point.
There goes Makoa.
Already popping off, but it's Ash who's on the point already, dropping down the shield and not trying to create and not leaving enough room for this GSU team, for the GSU varsity team to move into the point. But with that kill, now they've regained.
Yep, as we said, the Inara put her wall up. The Ash had nowhere to go. She could only stand in Hi-Rez flames. They just could burn her down, and it looks like our varsity team has control of the point, but all of Four Students and Dong's team are there.
They're doing their best to try and make their way back in, but between an Inara and a Makoa, I mean, it's not easy. Ash got to be the first one in, of course, to try and make some space happen. Grover in the back, though, keeping the Ash healthy and landing these axes. That's going to create some space.
Yep, there's the Talus doing his job. He's trying to find Amani. Looks like he took out someone else when he was there.
Couldn't create quite enough space. Still holding on is GSU varsity to this point. They're all the way up to 99%, but it's in overtime, still contested just barely by those on the side of 4 GSU students.
Yep, and that looks like there's the objective capture. Varsity has it. Let's see if they can push it in.
They are pushing already. They still have all 5 members up, but it's the ultimates that are ready for Avantgade and African Cheshire that has me nervous. Once they pop those, they can really start making their push. This is the initial choke point of the map that they're trying to push past before they make it up to the actual open area.
Yeah, looks like Mormon also has his hold up, so we might see that combo with Sarah.
Certainly is a big one. Sarah's the set up ultimate, so once Mormon's ready, they can start bringing in the damage. This Ash is barreling in, keeping them back. Avantgarde trying the best she can with those spears to open up the path, but it's not going to work. It's this healing that's really felt like a problem for them so far, as Ash can just kind of stick at the front line and plant herself down.
Yeah, with looks like they've gone with her barricade guard. So looks like, and there's the Grover ult. There looks like keeping the team alive. It might have been a waste. I can't tell.
Yeah, it was a little bit early. Didn't it feel like that was forced out by the pressure that's coming from GSU varsity so far? But they haven't been able to make a push. They've been stalled out so far at this choke point, but now finally falling back. I wonder if that's because Makoa has flanked them on the back.
Yeah, and there's the Makoa. Oh, looks like they're stunned. He's just putting in. Looks like he's trying to take out that Grover, but doesn't secure any kills, and he is taken out.
Unfortunately, ends up falling, but his work is done. The rest of GSU varsity is now pushed up into this final stretch, trying to get this payload pushed in. Dong goes down as well, with only 4 members available. Talus is free to start moving up into his flank position to look for his damage.
Yeah, looks like there he is. He's supposed to overcharge. He's trying to put the damage into the Grover, doing his job. Makes Grover retreat. Ash is all by herself. She can't hold it there.
Grover looking for what damage he can from the top, but this is already getting close. That's good to at least take down Zeon now, but now the Makoa's pushing in. That means he's got to lead. Grover able to get back up to higher ground, but the ground seated is exactly what GSU varsity wants.
Like, look, Makoa goes down, but Ash was a bit too far up. Looks like, they put out both Makoa and Inara. Looks like 4 GSU students and Dong might be making a comeback here. They might be able to hold it.
Well, it was the Amani ult that came through in that dragon form that was able to find the double kill and push back GSU varsity long enough for them to get the hold. Only 15 seconds left, and now you get pushed forward past the payload, get them off these mounts, stagger those respawns, and don't let them into contest to try and get the overtime, but they're getting close.
It looks like there's a Fix Jordan himself, and he's really working on those quick scopes.
Toga able to find the backline, but he drops as well. That means that GSU varsity can make it into the overtime and can start holding on to the payload. Amani still free in the backline, can't flank it in if he wants to. Damage from the
there's the Grover ult again. Kind of this one a little bit more well-timed. Managed to keep Amani alive. Managed to put the Paladins out. Keep everyone up. But looks like it wasn't enough. Got pushed too far, and the varsity team managed to complete the push.
Wow, that's very strong for them to come not only get that first point, but get the push all the way in. They're up 2-0 now. They start trying to regroup, but from what I could see, it was looking like this Ash wasn't able to do quite enough to establish the front line for him. That might be because the Koga and the Amani couldn't get to the back line, do the damage that you need from them. It's much harder for this Ash in the front if she can't rely on those damages and those flankers to make it to the back line.
Yeah, without another tank to help her out, she has to rely on her teammates to just make sure she has the space to do her work.
No, you're exactly right. Meanwhile, the Inara and the Makoa, Big Default and Avantgarde on kill streaks coming out of the back end of that round. They had big games. Let's see if they can do exactly what they did last time. It was initially the 4 GSU students that got to the point first, but they had to fall back almost immediately once they were down
on the same side again, and there's the firebomb. Hi-Rez is a very popular route to go for this certain map. It allows you to get there quick. If you get there well, you can establish control. It's like Talos is almost low. He has to retreat.
Yeah, they're pushing forward, trying to find some space. It was GSU Varsity dedicated to making the point first, but they can't quite hold on to control. Makoa drops the shield. That forces them back beyond the initial choke point. This is good for GSU
He might be
Varsity.
looking for the good hook. Makoa's diving in. Probably trying to keep the Grover out. I tried to ult. So no, he's just putting in a bit of damage. Grover and Ash busy, allowing his team to sit on the point capture.
Yeah, but look how far forward they've been able to push for GSU Varsity. That means that 4 students at GSU haven't even been able to find their way to the point at all. They got that 3% at the beginning, but this is an easy cap so far for GSU Varsity. And even there aren't even any ultimates available except for the one on Strix who's going to fight their way back in. That's the point captured.
Yeah, that was easy cap. Looks like GSU, they're probably communicating. Ash, Talos, and Makoa are working together, keeping all of 4 students of GSU and Dong busy. This allowed an easy cap, and now they see they're getting an easy push.
They're looking for the push too. Koga, Dark Paw 34 trying to push forward and not let it be easy for them. In fact, they've decided they're just going to fall back at least a bit and try and make their stand at this initial choke point. But Makoa's not letting them. He's pushed into the back line, swinging away with the hook. That's a big ultimate. Finds one on Maker of Rice, and he wants the Ash too.
But he tried to confirm the kill on the Ash, but could not. He's got to retreat a little bit. Probably wait for healing from upstairs.
Coming through, so that does allow now for 4 students to at least reset some. Talos has pushed for him by himself, but he'll fall back. He thought better of it. Good hook from Makoa to bring the Ash in, and that means he'll be able to find some instrumental damage. This push has happened.
There's the Amani ult. He managed to put out that Talos. Useful, but not good enough for himself. Oh, there's the Makoa. I think that was a max range hook.
It was. That brings back in the Grover. That sets up victory for the red team just that quickly. A 4-0 comes out, and really 4 GSU students, from what I was seeing, never were able to find any comfortable ground in that game at all to stand on. They lost the initial points way too quickly.
Yeah, not at all. The Ash did their best to hold the point, but they did not have the support they needed.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they got enough value out of the Koga from what I was seeing in that game. Looks like he couldn't make it to the back line and try and heal. And if you are going to be running just that one frontline tank, then this Ash needs a little bit more support on the back of that game.
All right, we might want to take a look at some of the replays from that match.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't a lot. Things happened so quickly in that match, it makes sense. This was a big Makoa play where he was able to push forward. This was right after the point capture, and he went so deep that's why they were able to push the payload so much for free at the beginning.
And here's that, once again, that max range hook to pull in the Grover and that healing, allowing them to just keep him out, capture the point, finish the match.
Things ended very quickly in that match for them, but an impressive win for GSU Varsity, at least in that first map. We'll see if they can get it done again. It's only a best of 3, so now on the back foot for 4 GSU students. What map are we going to next? What are they going to be looking to for damage dealers and flankers? There's a lot of questions that are still standing for them.
Yeah, we might see them revise a bit on that team comp, go with a bit more, go a bit more with the meta, have 2 tanks. But let's go talk to Andrew.
Good evening, Georgia. And it's been an incredible day, yeah. An incredible day of esports so far. Start with League of Legends, followed into Overwatch, and then 2 incredible Georgia-made games, Smite and Paladins. Absolutely fantastic game action today. Hope you've been enjoying it on the stream, but I'm sorry you're not here to win our last raffle prizes, including The Art of Archer, signed by Matt Thompson and many of the other creators and hard workers on this show. Check out all the signatures. Yes, this is going to be the first thing we're going to weigh. We've been waiting all day to give this out. So if you are here in-house, pull out your raffle ticket. This is one of the good ones. And we are pulling from the Global Agenda bag, one of Hi-Rez Studios' best games. Well, one of their many, many great games. And Marcus Strickland, who has been one in the past, our Siege volunteer coordinator, is keep an eye out for Siege. We'll do the drawing. We're going to draw 10 numbers. First one down here with one of the matching numbers gets the book. And we have other prizes for the rest of you. So draw away. $851. $851. Come on down. Keep drawing because we got more prizes for people. $782. $782. $728. $728. Nice little reverse there. Maybe all right, we're just seeing things. Again.
It's the Alzheimer's. 767.
767. Can you tell he flies planes?
797. Which
Digit. 797. 797. Nice. We've had more than 250 people come through the doors.
704.
704. Keep looking, keep digging. We got more prizes to give away too. Going to draw at least 10 of these.
778.
778.
What's up? 855.
855.
836.
836. First one over here gets the Archer book. Ah, there we go. How many more we got to draw? One more.
725.
725. Thank you all for joining us here at Pantherland. Now, going back to the game.
Thanks, Andrew. Hopefully, so people are able to take home some pretty cool stuff. That Archer book had me kind of feeling some kind of way, you know?
No,
Yeah,
I can see you had a little bit of disappointment there yourself.
Oh, yeah, we don't have to bring it up. I mean, yeah, he called 726 and 725, and those are both only like 1 or 2 away from my number. But, you know, I'm not salty about it. I don't let it hurt my feelings, you know?
That's right.
I don't take it personally.
We can get past it.
We're going to have to get past it. Hopefully, GSU varsity, or rather 4 GSU students in Dong, can get past that rough loss they took in that first game. 4-0, especially that quickly, is not particularly common unless there's a big gap. So there's a lot that they're going to have to try and make up for. I think that there were some issues in the draft, yes, but also in the play.
Yeah, I could see him. I could see a lot of issues. The Koga probably wasn't the best pick. He wasn't able to do. He just wasn't doing his job.
Right. It felt like he wasn't getting quite enough, and we talked about it right from the beginning. Right. If there wasn't enough to try and support that Ash, then she wasn't going to be enough on her own. I think we saw some good play from the Grover. There was plenty of good healing. Maybe that first ultimate was a little bit suspect. The second one was much better that we saw on the actual point. But really, across the board, it looked like they weren't getting enough value out of what they picked.
Yeah, Ash was doing their job. Did you notice if the Ash used her ult or not?
Yeah, I think there were maybe like one that we saw, but again, I didn't see enough to justify that being the solo pick, right? The solo tank on that.
But all right, we're getting back into bans and picks. First round, we have Leon ban again, and there's the Makoa ban.
That's a good one. The Makoa was very good. Remember, we saw the max range pull at the very end of that one. That set up the kill on the Grover and eventually the cap. Get that guy out of there.
All right, and then we're back to a Torvald and a Grok ban.
Yeah, get the Grok ban. That was what we saw in game 1. So is this Torvald ban. So even though we've switched over to Jaguar Falls from the Serpent Beach, it looks like they still are worried about some of those same picks. So maybe it wasn't so much map dependent as they just don't like having to deal with this Torvald.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, I can see the point of banning Torvald here. There's that entire open side for Jaguar Falls.
That's a good point.
That people can worry about. And again, it's just quite easy for the Torvald ult to just push the entire team off the edge, get a whole environmental kills.
Power overwhelming. Something like that comes out.
But if we're getting into, let's get into picks again. Looks like Varsity is once again getting the Talus pick.
That's right, and I think that this did work for them as a flanker. We saw him playing very far forward, very aggressive, so no reason not to go back to this one as Cassie Fernando come out. And these feel like some comfort picks for me. A traditional tank for you to put onto your point, and then Cassie, who does so much damage. She's just always a good pick.
Yeah, looks like our 4 GSU students team are starting to get back into a bit more of where they're comfortable.
Right.
I might assume that Fernando pick is going to Nathan. No, Fezzle.
Yeah, Fezzle. There's definitely a good chance it's going to him. Maybe this Cassie on Rice. There's a chance on that one, too. We'll see where those picks end up as the Inara and the Tyra come out. From my mind, I don't think there's any reason why GSU or GSU Varsity should make any big changes, and it looks like so far they haven't.
Yeah, no, looks like they're about to go with the same team comp. It gave them the control they needed. They could zone. They could, if one of the enemy front lines tried to retreat, Anar can just pop her wall. They could just burn her down with a field or Tyra's firebomb. So it looks like they probably practiced a lot with this comp.
Right.
Looks like they're very comfortable with it.
The adjustment they will have to make, of course, is they won't have the Makoa this time. That one has been banned out. So what other sort of tank hybrid? Makoa is the tank, yes, with the shields, but he'll also push forward aggressively as well. So interested to see what they're going to go to try and replace it. And if Khan's the call, then that does feel like it fills that same void.
Yep. As I talked to them, Khan is also a very solid tank pick with his shout. He can keep he has a good pocket heal for his team when he's on the team. If they go with the legendary, it can give them a bit of CC immunity, allow them to push into the point a little bit more, depending on what we have.
He can also throw him off the map if he needs to, right? Just with that ult, just grab them, pick them up, and displace them. As the last pick that came through was the Maldamba as well. I believe Damba was banned out last game, so we're going to get to see these big-time heals this time and that big AoE fear, which could be huge setup.
Looks like we could see why they went with Damba this time. It looks like our 4 GSU students, they snuck the Ceres right out from under them.
Yeah.
And looks like they're going back to another 2 damage comp with a Vivian, and their flank is Maeve this time. Maeve is always a very strong pick for a flank. She's very hard to deal with. That double jump makes her very evasive.
I agree. It's going to be much harder, I think, for GSU Varsity to get away without having to deal with a pain in the neck flank this time, because Maeve can do that so well. You've also got the Vivian, who feels like she just wants to plant, hold down, left click, literally stronger the longer she holds it down. So there can be plenty of shots coming out from her too.
Vivian's machine gun is going to be something very dangerous. It can burn right through a Nara's wall quickly.
It absolutely can.
She's going to be something to watch for.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to be seeing her, speaking of that wall, picking up that wrecker in this case. I feel like there's a lean towards Cauterize. We didn't talk too much about the items last time because the game ended so quickly. They were only back in base one time. They successfully pushed off 2 pushes, so we didn't have as much time. But that's one more thing to consider, right? Where is it this Vivian's going to be going with the item selection?
Yeah, it looks like depending on what we do, Vivian they might have picked that Vivian to take just specifically because of the Inara. Just have her pick up record, just make sure any of Inara's deployables just aren't able to last, make her have to rely on her right click.
There is also a ton of healing, though, on the side of GSU Varsity, so maybe some of that can make some sense. We'll certainly get a chance to look as we have moved into the game. Backs against the wall now for 4 GSU students and Don. Well, I have to say it that way every single time, though. I don't know if he was one of those. The problem with that. You see, it is the cauterizes that are coming out, and this makes some sense, right? I mean, Maldamba healing is absolutely absurd. You definitely got to slow that down.
Yeah, Maldamba can pick up a lot of healing, so cauterize is always a logical thing.
Certainly makes some sense. We haven't talked too much about it, but Fezzle is